welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nambiar. I'm a 4th year medical student from Malaysia. So in today's video, I'm gonna be cooking this recipe which I grew up eating. So anyway, I will be making tofu with chili, and in Malaysia we call it Tofu Sambal. So join me! Hi guys, so we're gonna start off with the tofu, and in order to make this tofu sambal, this vegan tofu sambal, you need tofu obviously. You also need tomatoes, and you need about, I just eyeball this basically because I put as much onions as I want, and my mom, she used to like put lots of onions inside. So maybe about 3 to 4 big onions. 2 to 3 is also fine. You can put about 5 cloves of garlic, as well as an inch of ginger. So, by the way, all of these are going into the same blender. And then you need 4 tablespoons of chili bo. We call this chili bo in Malaysia. It's essentially chili puree. So yeah, because you're gonna make tofu chili, obviously you need chili, right? And also, if it's too spicy, you can add a little bit of lime juice if you have, but over here I use the tamarind juice. So what I did, I actually took about an inch of tamarind, and then I soaked it in warm water and just strained it. Okay, so let's start with the tofu first. Make sure you have your tissue papers ready, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna blanch the tofu, because this tofu, actually when I bought it, they were in the water, so obviously they're wet. And what you want to do is you want to fry the tofu, and obviously, you know, if the tofu is wet and everything and you put it in the hot oil, it's gonna start, the oil is gonna start splattering everywhere, and that's just so not nice. And you know, if the oil gets on you, it's really painful, get burned. So what you want to do is you want to blanch them like so. Anyway, do you guys like grew up eating tofu? I grew up eating tofu and I love tofu. Not necessarily tofu like this, but in the sense that it can be a soy-based meal as well. So anyway, if you grew up eating tofu and you like tofu, do leave a comment down below and let me know. Okay, so funny story time. So all this while, I watched my mom like she will make her tofu sambal, her chili tofu, and I will just watch her like, okay, she'll start off with the tofu, then she'll fry it, the oil will splatter everywhere, and one day I just decided to try, and I mean, like, it turned out quite nice. But then, okay, don't think I'm disgusting or anything, okay? It never occurred to me that I should wash the tofu first before I use it. Like, I mean, when I bought it in the plastic, like, you know, you can get it in the supermarket, they'll have it like sealed properly with the water inside. So I just took it out and, you know, just like started cutting and all. And one day, while I was frying the tofu, it was so smelly, and my mom was like, why does it smell like stinky tofu? And I was like, I don't know why, I think maybe the tofu is spoiled. And she was like, did you wash the tofu? And I was like, no, we need to. Yeah, so wash your tofus, guys. Okay, so anyway, you can cut it into whatever shape you want. Like, I'm so used to cutting it into triangle shapes, so depending on you, if you want it smaller, obviously you can cut it more, or if you want it cube, you can cut it into cube size. So like here, I usually just leave it in triangular size like this. So I usually just leave it in triangle size like this, and I will fry it as it is. I don't know, maybe because I'm just comfortable growing up with this size, so for me, I don't feel the need to cut it even smaller or cut it into a different shape. I guess I'm just afraid of change. got our tofu set aside, what we want to do is we want to chop these all into tiny pieces because you're gonna blend it. I mean, obviously if you have a really powerful blender, you don't need to chop them into fine pieces, but since my blender is not all that powerful and I want it to last a bit longer, so I am gonna actually chop this up into smaller pieces. You don't necessarily need any specific shape, but if it makes you happy, by all means do so. Please excuse my chopping skills. I know I'm really not good at chopping. I can't chop fast. I can't chop them into the same size. So now for the tomatoes, what you want to do is, by the way guys, tomato or tomato, leave a comment down below. So anyway, for the tomatoes, what you want to do is you want to chop them into smaller pieces as well. Okay. Like I said earlier, chopping is not really required if you have a powerful blender. Like I don't have one, okay, and I pretty much use my blender for like making my shakes, making my juice. I personally like to put a lot of tomatoes and onions, tomatoes especially, in my chili dishes. I love spicy food, but sometimes it depends on my mood. So if you don't want it to be too spicy, cut down on the chili obviously, put more tomatoes. All of these are smaller, even the tofu. Let's go fry our tofu. What you need is a pan, or like in this case I only have a saucepan and a pressure cooker because I decided to leave all my pans at home. So what you want to do is you want to deep fry the tofu. Depending on what kind of pan you want to use, obviously I'm using a saucepan. You want to heat the oil, put as much oil as you want, and then once the oil has heated up, I don't know the temperature because I don't have a thermometer. Just assume that it's really hot. Don't test it with your fingers. Then you can fry your tofu. Is actually hot, you can start frying the tofu. So what we did earlier is, while we are waiting for the oil to heat up, you want to blend. Actually you want to chop them into tiny pieces, but obviously a blender is much easier. You want to blend the tomato, garlic, onions, as well as the ginger. Now what my mom usually do is when she blends them, she don't really put a lot of tomato, but I like to put a lot of tomato. So she will mix some oil inside, but I didn't do that because the tomatoes, you know, they have their own juice, right? So I felt like it was really unnecessary, so I will add the oil later. But I mean, you can put it in at the same time, it's the same. Let's deep fry our tofu. By the way, be careful. You see there's actually still some water here, so what you want to do is grab your tissue paper and blot it out, because you don't want the water to start, you don't want the oil to start, you know, flying everywhere. First of all, it makes your kitchen really messy and you might hurt yourself. Put it in and then run away from the stove. How long should you fry it for? I don't know, honestly. You don't want your flame to be really high. You just want it to be medium. You want to deep fry it until it's golden brown. So when it's golden brown, you take it out. You don't leave it until it burns. But at the same time, you don't want it to be like too soon because you want it to be really fried. Then it'll be nice. But of course, this is up to you. It's based on the individual's preference. Okay, so now we are done with frying the tofu and it's all golden brown. What you want to do now is you want to prepare chili. I don't have any other pan and I am so used to using my pressure cooker since I was in year 3. Basically, it's like my everything. So those of you who use a pressure cooker or an instant pot, you know what I mean. Like it's your everything. You want to set the function to saute or stir at high temperature. You don't have any specific time, so I usually just put an hour and then I start heating it up. While it heats up, what you want to do is you want to add some oil. Yeah, and just let it heat up. Okay, so now you want to add your blended tomato, ginger, garlic, onion paste inside. Get in on the sides. You don't want to waste it. After like 5 minutes, you will notice that the color will actually become a bit darker. Now you want to add your 4 tablespoons of chili bowl. Now, depending on the spiciness of the chili bowl, you can increase or reduce the amount of tablespoon. Like back at home, my mom, she used to make her own chili bowl and she will make it from pure chili, so it will be really spicy. So back at home, my mom will probably only use like 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons. But over here, I get the ones that they sell in the supermarket. So the ones that they sell in the supermarket aren't actually pure chili. Most of it is like food coloring and I don't know what they mix with other stuff. So it's not that spicy. That's why I add 4 tablespoons. So if you're unsure about the level of spiciness that you want, what you can do is first, maybe you can put about 1 to 2 and then 1 to 2, and you feel like it's not spicy enough, you can add on later. So if you want to prevent it from flying around, actually you can just keep stirring it. Stir it continuously. And meanwhile, while it is cooking, you can add your tamarind if you want. Or if you're unsure about the taste, you can wait first and then try it later. And also add some salt. So when it comes to putting salt, I just eyeball and I usually put like about 3 to 4 dashes, tiny dashes. And if I want more, I'll put more because I don't use a spoon to take the salt because I feel like if I use a spoon to take the salt, I will just end up taking too much. We are done with the chili. As you can see, I left the heat on. What you want to do is you want to put in the fried tofus inside and then mix it up. Make sure you coat the tofus properly. And after you have coated them, just give it a stir, give it a mix for about 1 minute while it's still in high heat. And then voila, you are done with your vegan tofu chili. Or as Malaysians we call it Tofu Sambal. Because sambal is actually chili puree, but they use sambal belacan. But sambal belacan has dried shrimp inside. So obviously I can't put sambal belacan, but if this were a non-veg one, I would have added sambal belacan inside in addition to the chili and everything. But then that wouldn't be vegan or vegetarian, would it? So yeah, I hope you like this video guys, and do dine with me. rice. I obviously eat it with rice because Asians. So anyway, if you do have a similar recipe like this, do let me know in the comment down below. And if you've tried it, how do you like it? Tastes like tofu. It's not spicy, seriously. This recipe isn't spicy at all, regardless of the amount of chili bowl or chili puree I used. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you like it, and if you did try the recipe, do let me know in the comments down below and how was it or how is it for you. So yeah, if you're not subscribed to my channel, do subscribe to my channel because I try to post videos every week, and I post videos on vlogs about my med school life and also some recipes that I cook. I'm not a good cook obviously, but then I just like to share what I do. So yeah, that's it, and I will see you next week. Bye.